We are using our Jedi mind tricks on you to make you watch this entire video the whole way through and to hit like and subscribe and comment. That's the power of Hypnotic. Katie Walsh filling in right now for Alonzo.
Hi. How are you?
I'm so happy to see you. Yeah, it's Ben Affleck Day.
It is. It is.
You know, we would be remiss if we did not do both the Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck movies today. So we're talking
J-Lo
about,
is mother.
She is the mother. And then Ben Affleck has this movie as well called Hypnotic. Yeah, if you've not subscribed to us yet, you really should, because big stuff is coming. But, you know, when it's Ben Affleck Day, we'll stop everything for Ben Affleck Day.
Oh, yeah.
Thankfully, Katie Walsh is here to help me with that. What is Hypnotic about? What can you say about Hypnotic?
Can't say much because it would be a spoiler.
Hypnotics.
Hypnotics have the ability to influence the brain, sound.
Basically, and you're just going to get this from the trailer, Ben Affleck plays a detective whose daughter has been kidnapped, and he is working on a bank robbery, and he finds that something with the bank robbery has to do with his kidnapped daughter. He finds a Polaroid of his kidnapped daughter, like in a safe deposit box, and he ends up consulting a psychic played by Braga, who starts to tell him about something called hypnotic constructs, which are like reality simulations that like anybody, you know, these powerful psychics can create by just saying like a couple of words to someone. Okay. Is that too much or is that not enough? I feel like I can't say too much without spoiling things, but that's where we start. That's like the engine that gets us going.
Right. I appreciate that. Yeah, this is a tough one to talk about, but we can talk about whether it works or not. This is directed and co-written by Robert Rodriguez. So it takes place in Austin. You know, he, of course, does so many different jobs in all of his films, but his son, Rebel, did the score here, and it's like, yeah. We can say it borrows very heavily from Hitchcock and very heavily from Christopher Nolan with some pieces of The Matrix in it. I think we can say all of that. This feels totally derivative and unoriginal to the point where I wondered, like, does he mean this? Is this meant to be like beyond homage, almost like a parody of a very certain kind of twisty psychological thriller? I don't know. If it is, whether he means it or whether he means it as, you know, a loving, faithful representation of that kind of movie, it doesn't work. Either way, I didn't think so.
I mean, I think that, and like, yes, Robert Rodriguez, like he edited the film, he shot the film along with another DP. And if you know anything about his like sort of run and gun indie style, like that is very much what he does. Like he is just like doing things fast and loose. And I have to respect him for carving his own industry, like making his own little industry in Austin, Texas. You know, he's worked outside of sort of, or with Hollywood and sort of outside Hollywood, just doing his own thing for his entire career, like since El Mariachi. So, you know, it kind of feels like he's just like having fun in his backyard, which he literally is. Yeah. And I, you know, what I think also what I kind of respect about this film is like, you know, this is my lead up, my caveats. Like I respect that he's like doing his own thing, and it feels like him playing in a genre, like a detective noir genre that kind of turns into this like dystopian sci-fi thing. It felt like when the movie starts, you're like, this feels off. And then there's a reason why it feels off. But I liked sort of him doing this like noirish detective thing with Ben Affleck. I mean, I think the weak links of this movie are like the story and the script, and quite frankly, Ben Affleck. Like
He's
Ben
so
Affleck
boring here.
does not, he looks like he doesn't know where he is or like what he's doing or what's going on. Like I feel like he's standing like a sim. He's like sort of standing there with his like arms just like flopping around, and he's doing a Batman voice. I'm like, what is happening? Like, what are you doing?
He's totally doing Batfleck. And I think some of that stiffness and some of that confusion like maybe makes sense once you know what is actually happening here. But it's just really hard to connect with this character. And we're supposed to feel his panic and his fear, and we never do. Like there's something very detached about the performance. And it's fascinating to me that he said yes to this, because I think as a director and a writer himself on his own projects, and when he stars in those projects, like he's got great taste. Air is fantastic. You know, I liked Argo. I like Gone Baby Gone in the
The
Tent.
Last Duel. Justice
Last
for the Last
Duel.
Duel, which is so good.
You
We
and
talked
I
about
reviewed
it. Yes.
We did. Yeah, I think and ordinarily when Ben Affleck chooses, he chooses wisely, right? And I don't know what it is about this movie that spoke to him, because there's not a lot to the character. Maybe he thought that like the twists would be smart, and yet the Robert Rodriguez style, as you say, is so indie, so run and gun, like it always looks chintzy. Like his movies often look kind of chintzy, like the Spy Kids movies, for example. I was racking my brain, like, what was the last good Robert Rodriguez movie? And like, is it his half of Grindhouse?
I mean, I completely forgot that he directed Alita Battle Angel, which I hated.
Me too. Yeah.
But which might get me in trouble because it did a couple years ago when I didn't like that movie. But I started to think that maybe Ben Affleck just like wanted to go to Austin and like hang and do the Robert Rodriguez thing. Like
Maybe.
It kind of feels like Robert just like making a movie with his friends, which again is like, I appreciate that he's still doing that after all these years. You know, he's like such the epitome of the indie spirit in that sense. But the script is so bad. Like there's so much explaining. Alice Braga does so much explaining where it's just like utter nonsense, but they don't explain any of the emotional underpinning. So you just like don't care about the emotional aspect of this story at all. And Ben Affleck is not helping us either. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, pardon me. No, there's so much explaining, and yet there are things that just happen that's like, how did that happen? Like William Fichtner, how does he do some of the things that he does? How there are times where people show up and it's like, how? And I just, and I don't want to get any more into that, but there are twist upon twist upon twist where I was like, come on already. Really? Like how? So
impossibly twisty. It even gets twisty in the credit sequence.
Yep.
There's the credits roll and there's twists. I'm like, no more, please. No Hypnotic 2. I can't do a Hypnotic 2. Yeah, but I just was like laughing and cackling on the way home. I was like, this movie is hilarious and absurd.
I wish I enjoyed it that much. I was just like, oh, come on already. And it's all of 85 minutes. Like before the credits roll, it is very, very short. Co-written by Max Bornstein, who co-created that Winning Time series on HBO about the Showtime Lakers. Anyway, I just thought this looked chintzy and the performances weren't great. And it was just twist upon twist upon twist to such an extent that it was just ridiculous and so derivative. Like everything we see here, we have seen done. And I can't name the movies because it would be obvious what happens if I do. But like when you see it, you will know, oh, that's that. Oh, that's that. And it's done better. And it does not do itself any favors by being compared like this. So I'm going to say like a 3.7.
Wow, I feel like that's high.
Is it? What would you say out of 10?
I guess similar. I maybe 3.
Okay.
I don't know. What's that come out to? 3.5?
I don't know. That's math. I mean,
I can't do math.
There are moments here and there with there's some cool ideas here and there, but like ultimately it just becomes ridiculous. So Hypnotic is in theaters. Woo! This is not the movie you're looking for.